Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey everyone! The topic that I've chosen for today is connection and why it's so important for living a fulfilled and meaningful life. As you all know, your outer success does not necessarily correlate with your inner feeling of success, happiness, and fulfillment. I mean, you can make millions with your business and still feel miserable and unfulfilled. And that doesn't make you a bad person or an ungrateful person. There is no judgment here. And I wanted to point this out because what I'm seeing over and over again is that this gap between what you think you should be feeling and what you're really feeling is a great source of pain, shame, guilt, and disappointment. I mean, we've all been conditioned to believe that certain things just go together, like achievement and pride, parenthood and fulfillment, entrepreneurship and freedom, money and worth. But those associations, they are often subconscious, meaning you're not aware of them. But what you associate with concepts like money or parenthood is shaped by the family and the society that you grew up in. Now, what does your brain do? It processes information and it tries to predict the future based on your knowledge and your past experiences, right? So whenever you're making a decision, your brain kind of weighs the options and tries to calculate the probabilities of different possible outcomes. Those subconscious associations and those deeply held beliefs about those concepts like relationships or money and worth, for instance, they profoundly shape that decision-making process. As humans, we are social animals and we all want to feel safe, loved, and connected. So in an attempt to protect us from potential harm, our subconscious mind will always steer us away from potential harm and anything that threatens our sense of safety and connection. In fact, the human need for connection is so strong that scientific evidence suggests that this is one of our core psychological needs, and it is essential for living a happy and fulfilled life. In his book, Social, Why Our Brains Are Wired to Connect, neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman describes 3 neural networks within the brain that promote social connection. One that allows us to mentalize, which means intuitively understand what others are feeling and then predicting their behavior. Another one that allows us to feel social pain and social pleasure. And last but not least, another one that lets us absorb beliefs and values of the community we live in. Those include associations and beliefs like the ones that I mentioned before, like the relationships between different concepts. And this is a fascinating area of research. It's not just cold theory. These findings are based on experiments using functional MRI technology that links certain psychological states to certain brain areas and neural pathways. One of the interesting results of those experiments was that social pain is actually experienced through the same pathways as physical pain. Just think about that for a moment. That's how much social connection is really wired into our brains. That's also why social rejection hurts so much. But the opposite effect has also been shown to be true. So according to numerous studies, people who are isolated face an about 50% greater risk of premature death than those who have strong social connections. So relationships keep you happy and keep you healthy. And that's remarkable, right? That is the power of social connection. Research suggests that if you want to live a long and happy and healthy life, You want to nurture your social connections. You want to be a part of something bigger. Now, let's go back to what we talked about in the beginning, that clash between what you expect and what you really experience. Now, when you're growing up in an environment that maybe taught you that you're only worthy and successful when you make a lot of money, then you might have followed a path that allows you to make a lot of money so that you can fit in and feel connected to your family and friends and community. But what if you discover that making a lot of money does not make you feel successful or worthy? Then you experience that painful disconnect between the things you've been told by your loved ones and your own experiences. And what's happening in your brain when you're eagerly anticipating something good is that you release more of a neurotransmitter called dopamine that increases your drive and motivation to get that reward that you're expecting. But now you don't receive that reward. And this is kind of like crashing your dopamine system. And it feels like the opposite of a reward. So it feels like a punishment. And that's a mechanism that your brain uses to learn what it should and shouldn't pursue. Now, why am I bringing this up in this context of connection? Because now you have this mismatch of what other people have told you that you should pursue and what your brain tells you to pursue. And it's creating like a mental dissonance, if you like, a misalignment that can be really difficult to navigate. Because another important form of connection that we don't often talk about is that connection to your own true authentic self, the self that's hidden under all those layers of conditioning. As I see it, being authentic and in touch with that true self is also a very important form of connection. You might not even be aware of losing that important connection to your true self. It's often more like a slow erosion that you don't notice until one day you feel like an empty shell and you have the vague sense that you have lost something important, even though you can't quite put your finger on it. They often say that entrepreneurship is lonely, and sometimes driven entrepreneurs sacrifice their social connections and relationships to chase more financial success, only to figure out at some point that they haven't just alienated those people close to them, but they have also lost touch with with their true self. Now, that is a painful realization for sure. And now you know why, because social pain hurts too. And it hurts in the same way as physical pain. And if that's your experience right now, I want you to know that you are not alone. You might feel alone and like you can't admit your struggle, but you're definitely not the only one going through this kind of experience. Now it's time to ask yourself, which connections did you sacrifice on your way to success? And is the life that you've created worth that sacrifice? As always, if you need help working through a difficult experience like this one, just reach out to me and I'm happy to help. So that's it for today. Until next time, take care and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!